Just imagine that you've spent your entire life saving for retirement only to watch your hard-earned money just go down the drain on things that you wish you hadn't bought. That happens a lot more than you'd think. But here's the good news, you don't have to make the same mistakes. Today we're breaking down the top 5 worst purchases that retirees often regret, and more importantly, we're going to go through the top 5 best purchases that can actually make retirement better, happier, and more fulfilling. So stick around because the number 1 worst purchase has cost retirees thousands of dollars, and most don't realize it until it's too late. On the flip side, the number 1 best purchase might just be the smartest money that you'd ever spend. So let's dive in. Now, if you're new here, I'm Jonathan Rankin, the founder and CEO of Theorem Wealth Management. We're a retirement planning firm that's been helping people across the country plan and execute their retirement goals, and I've been doing this for going on 20 years now. Now see, the 5 worst purchases that retirees often make, we're going to start with number 5, which is that shiny new luxury car. You see, people who retire, they often want to reward themselves for a lifetime of hard work. And what's a better way than to celebrate by buying a brand new luxury car? I mean, it feels amazing, well, for a little while. But what many retirees don't realize until it's too late is that that purchase can turn into this massive financial burden. You see, luxury cars come with high insurance costs, they're expensive to maintain, and they rapidly depreciate faster than most cars. You see, that brand new ride loses thousands in value the second you drive it off the lot, and it might feel great to have this high-end car, but it's not so fun when you're shelling out hundreds for specialty repairs, premium fuel, or expensive tires, all on a fixed retirement budget. So before you upgrade to that dream car, make sure you ask yourself, is this purchase about long-term enjoyment, or is this a short-term thrill? Because people who usually regret this purchase say the same thing. I wish I had just bought something reliable and put that extra money toward experiences instead of a car. And that brings us to another major regret, a purchase that sounds like a dream but often turns into a huge financial headache. And we're talking about big toys like boats and RVs. I mean, you've all seen the ads, the retired couple sailing off into the sunset or hitting that open road in an RV. I mean, it looks like the ultimate freedom. And for some it is. But for many retirees, those boats and RVs, they turn into these giant money pits that are rarely used. I mean, with boats, you've got marinas that rack up fees even when they're not being used. RVs, those need costly storage, insurance, fuel, and repairs, and driving them can be stressful and exhausting. But the biggest issue is how fast they depreciate. See, many retirees who buy these big ticket items end up selling them within a few years, often at this massive loss. So before you go all in on that RV or boat, try renting one first. You might realize that you love the idea more than the reality. And speaking of financial traps that are hard to escape, let's talk about a purchase that locks retirees in and keeps draining their money year after year. And that's timeshares. Now, owning a piece of paradise, that sounds like a dream. I mean, you got a guaranteed getaway spot, you've got luxurious amenities, you don't have to deal with the hassle of booking a hotel or an Airbnb. And that's exactly how the salespeople of timeshares want you to think. But here's the reality. You see, timeshares are one of the most commonly regretted purchases in retirement. And why is that? Well, the maintenance fees never stop, and they often go up every single year. And if you ever want to sell, well, good luck getting rid of your actual timeshare because they're very hard to actually get out of. And the resale value is often next to nothing. You see, many retirees find that their travel preferences change, and suddenly their vacation home feels more like this financial trap than a getaway. I mean, if you want to travel in retirement, consider a pay-as-you-go vacation instead, because that way you have the freedom to go anywhere you want without being locked into endless fees. And speaking of things that drain your savings, there's a financial trap that way too many retirees fall into, and it's often because they have the best intentions, and that is financially supporting adult children. I get it, helping out your kids and grandkids feels like the right thing to do, and for many retirees, it is. But there's a fine line between helping and jeopardizing your own retirement security. See, many retirees overextend themselves. They pay off their kids' debt, they cover expenses for struggling adult children, or co-signing on loans that they later fall back on them. And here's the hard truth that no one else is going to fund your retirement if you run out of money. And the retirees who regret this the most weren't the ones who said no. They were the ones who often gave up way too much, too often, and ended up struggling themselves. Remember, securing your own future first allows you to help family in a sustainable way. And speaking about financial burdens, let's talk about the number 1 purchase that retirees regret more than anything else. And it's a decision that sounds perfect at first, but turns into a massive financial and emotional drain. And that is the oversized dream home. Now, you've worked hard your entire life and retirement finally arrives and you're all ready to buy that dream home in retirement. And maybe it's a huge house in the countryside or a beachfront condo that's far from the city. But here's the problem. You see, many retirees discover that their dream home quickly turns into a nightmare. And why is that? Well, property taxes and maintenance costs that drain retirement savings. So I've seen so many people where the home is just too big for their needs. They don't need all of the space. They've got these clean but empty rooms, and isolation sets in because a lot of people, they'll move to quieter areas only to realize that they miss being closer to family, healthcare, and social activities. And worst of all, selling and downsizing later can be a lot harder than you think. That's why so many retirees wish that they had thought about this practical long-term living first, not just the fantasy of the big home. But now let's shift gears, because instead of just avoiding regrets, let's talk about the smartest purchases that retirees make. You know, the ones that actually bring them happiness, security, and peace of mind. Now that we've covered some of the worst purchases that retirees often regret, let's flip the script. Because retirement isn't just about avoiding mistakes, it's about making smart choices that actually enhance your lifestyle, protect your financial future, and bring you more happiness. So let's go from what not to spend your money on to the 5 best purchases retirees are happiest about. And trust me, number 1 on this list is something that nearly every retiree who did it says was the best money they ever spent. Let's dive into the 5th best purchase that retirees often make, and that is either a financial plan or a financial advisor. You see, many retirees assume that once they stop working, that the financial part is on autopilot. But the reality is that retirement isn't just about saving money, it's also about knowing how to spend it wisely. And that's why retirees who invest in a solid financial plan or work with a financial advisor rarely regret it, because it gives them a clear spending plan so they don't run out of money too soon, helps them minimize taxes so they can keep more of their hard-earned savings, and it prepares them for unexpected costs like healthcare or market downturns. And most importantly, it eliminates financial stress, because the retirees who didn't plan, many find themselves constantly worrying about money even if they have enough. But those who took the time to map out their retirement finances say it's one of the best decisions they've ever made. And speaking of financial security, let's talk about another key investment, one that could literally be the difference between a comfortable retirement and a financial disaster. And that's health insurance and wellness. So you can have millions in the bank, but if you don't have your health, then retirement won't feel like retirement at all. And that's why retirees who invest in health, both through good insurance and healthy living, are often the happiest. See, first, you have to have solid health insurance. That's a non-negotiable, because unexpected medical bills can be crippling, and one major hospital stay can cost tens of thousands of dollars. See, Medicare doesn't cover everything, so retirees who invest in the right supplemental plans are grateful when they need the insurance. But beyond insurance, the happiest retirees also spend money on staying active and feeling their best. See, some join fitness classes to keep moving, while others invest in home modifications like better mattresses or safety features to maintain their independence longer. And many focus on the mental wellness as well through social activities, hobbies, or even therapy. So because here's the thing, the retirees who prioritize their health early on often spend less in medical expenses later on, and they have a better quality of life. And speaking of quality of life, let's talk about something that can completely change how much freedom and joy you experience in retirement. And that is the right-sized home. So you remember we talked about the worst purchase being that oversized dream home? Well, the happiest retirees often do the opposite. They find the right size home that truly fits their needs. And here's why downsizing or moving to a more manageable home can be one of the smartest moves in retirement. Well, for one, you've got lower costs, less money spent on property taxes, utilities, and maintenance. There's less upkeep, so no more spending the weekends on fixing a giant house or dealing with an oversized yard. You've got more freedom, so many retirees move to places that they can walk more, or be closer to family, or have access to better healthcare. And nearly every retiree who's made this move always says the same thing: I wish I had done this sooner. It's freeing to have less stuff and more time to actually enjoy life. So if you're thinking about where you want to live in retirement, just remember, it's not about having the biggest house, it's about having the best lifestyle. And for many retirees, that means spending less on a home and more on things that make retirement truly fulfilling. Which brings us to the next best purchase on the list, hobbies and lifelong learning. See, imagine waking up every day in retirement with nothing to do. For some, that sounds relaxing, well, for a while, but the happiest retirees, they stay engaged, they keep learning, and spend money on things that keep life exciting. And that's why investing in hobbies, experiences, and lifelong learning is one of the best decisions that you can make. See, some retirees pick up new hobbies, whether that's painting or woodworking, gardening, photography. I mean, pickleball's everywhere. Others take courses or classes, whether it's cooking or a second language, or some even go back to college just for fun. And many use their time or money to volunteer and start passion projects, things that they never had time for before. Because retirement isn't just about not working, it's about doing what brings you joy and purpose. And when retirees invest in new experiences, social activities, and learning, they feel younger, they feel more fulfilled, and more connected to the world. And speaking of experiences that bring joy, let's talk about the number one purchase that retirees never regret, something that creates lifelong memories and deepens relationships. And that is meaningful travel experiences. Just ask a retiree what was their best use of money, and you will hear this answer over and over again. It was travel. It's not just about vacations, it's about the memories, the adventure, the time spent with loved ones. Because here's the thing, stuff fades, but experiences, they last forever. So traveling in retirement gives you the freedom to explore new places, reconnect with family, and step outside of a routine. And many retirees say their happiest moments weren't spent buying things, they were spent on trips with their spouse or their kids, or even solo adventures. I had one client who went to Jerusalem all by herself at 80 years old. And it doesn't have to be extravagant. You don't need to book a cruise around the world. See, some of the most fulfilling travel experiences are just simple weekend getaways, or a visit to a friend's, a cross-country road trip, even just exploring the national parks. Whatever it is, spending money on memories over material things is something that retirees almost never regret. Because at the end of the day, when you look back at your retirement, what will matter most? The things you bought or the experiences that you've lived? Now, we've talked about the worst purchases that drain your retirement savings and the best purchases that make retirement more fulfilling, but when you think about it, it all boils down to the fact that smart spending in retirement is just as important as smart saving. The retirees who struggle the most, they fall into financial traps, buying things that don't bring them lasting value, and the retirees who thrive, they focus their money on what truly enhances their life. And the best way to make sure that you're making the right choices for your retirement is having a plan, which is why I highly recommend that you take our personalized retirement quiz. It's quick, it's easy, and it gives you a retirement readiness score that's going to be personalized to you. All you have to do is click the link below and take the quiz, and our team will work on creating a foundational retirement plan for you and your family that's personalized to you. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.